Meeting to order. This is a special fire commissioners meeting held on Friday, the 14th of May at 4 p.m. or 1600 hours. The reason for a special meeting is that we did not have a notification sent out to the public regarding our regular meeting. And so we had to postpone for 2 days until we could get that accomplished. So we'll start with any public comment from anyone on the line. Nope. If not, I would like to request approval of the minutes from the 14th of April.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes, the 14th of April.
I second the motion.
And I concur. The minutes are approved as submitted. So we're ready for Patty. We'll have the financial report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, I am presenting May warrants that total $36,986.54. The total for payroll is $16,401.33. And that includes Chief Carlton's salary of $5,278.50 and Chief Shield's pay of $3,175.83. And then there was one event for each of the commissioners and the secretary. The total payouts for the volunteers, warrants included, is $17,529. And I believe you all have the April financial statements have been handed out for your review. So today I'm requesting the board's approval for the warrants and payroll for May as presented, please.
Okay. Are there any questions regarding the presentation?
I have a question, actually.
Yes.
And the question is a claims payment on page 2 of your detail for $13,379.44. And that's very close to what was paid to Northwest Pathology the previous month. Is that an additional Northwest Pathology charge?
No, I believe that should say to the left of that. Does that say U.S. Bank Visa?
It says U.S. Bank Corp. Yes.
Yes, and that is correct. And I actually have the remittance slip here in front of me, and it is $13,379.44. I appreciate you checking. There were a few other extra items that were on that card this month. As chief, I'm not sure if Chief was going
I can go over that.
Yeah, the blue card command and.
Yeah, I can go over the credit card.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want me to do that now?
Oh, what?
This is sort of that time in the agenda.
Drum roll.
Yeah, yeah, I can give me, let's do it. Can I do it a little bit? I need to pull it up. So can I do it in a later?
Sure, you can do as part of your report. That'll be fine.
That'd be great.
I fully accept that, and I move that we approve the May warrants totaling $36,986.54, and the total for payroll $16,401.33 for the month of May.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay. And I concur with that. When you talk about the other things, Chief, I had a question about the Dodge Chrysler. Is that, you'll talk about that later, okay?
Yeah, I'll talk to any questions that you have.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. So moving on, Patty.
Yes. And then I just have a real quick budget update. As of April 30th, 2021, we currently have 73.57% left in the budget this year. And that is compared to 70.81 at the same time a year ago.
Chief is doing a good job not spending money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Particularly surprising since we did have an audit this year and we did have some COVID-related expenses that we did not fully anticipate, particularly things like testing and vaccinations. So that's a remarkable job. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments? So moving on to correspondence.
Just to let you guys know, I've had tons of emails and phone calls regarding COVID vaccinations and the ability to get vaccinated here by dual citizens, American, Canadian citizens, and then also Canadian nationals themselves. And so I can go into more detail on that in my chief's report.
Good.
Hey, Patty, could you do me a favor? The email I sent you with the credit card, can you
Yes.
forward that back to me, please?
Yes. Or do you want me to take a snapshot with my phone? I can text it to you.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, sure.
Zoom is really kind of interesting.
Yeah, for some reason I can't locate that right now. I have like 4 different places. I apologize. But I don't think I had CC on it, and I apologize.
That's okay.
So
By interesting, Virginia, do you mean that you like it or dislike it? Because now that, the mandates will soon be lifted for vaccinated persons, will we be meeting in person again, or do you prefer this format?
Well, actually, I have that on my agenda to talk about. So
We'll just put that off till later then.
Let's put that off till the new business, shall we? Okay. So are you ready for your report, Chief?
okay, yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share a screen with everybody. Okay, so everybody should be able to see that.
Yes.
Okay, so this is my chief's report for May 2021 for the month of April. And point of information, vaccine distribution is continuing. At this point, I believe we have right around 660 people, 664 maybe, plus or minus, that are fully vaccinated at this time. And this weekend, we're going to be vaccinating another approximately 50. So what we're finding out in the second vaccines, thanks Patty for that text, in the second vaccines is that some people are getting their second doses somewhere else. And so we're running into an issue that we're having actually vaccines that we're not going to be using for the second doses. Therefore, those can be used for other people that weren't on the list that need a second dose. Or we've chosen to use those as first doses as well, speaking to Virginia and Barbara Whalen from the hospital district, that we want to do everything we possibly can never to waste a dose. And even if we can get the first dose into somebody and they have to go somewhere else to get the second dose, at least they have the first dose at that time. So we're hoping that right now we have maybe 10, up to 10, maybe 11 additional vaccines of Moderna for this coming up Sunday. And so that's in 2 days. And we hope that some people jump on those and we don't have to discard very many of those second doses. In reality, they're really not a wasted dose because people are still getting fully vaccinated, and these are lot numbered for second doses. So it's not like a first dose. A first dose is much more critical to us to not waste because we want to utilize all those up. But second doses are, they come and go, and some people aren't around to get the second dose when the date comes up. So we're just hoping that we can fill the majority of those spots as possible and help anybody wanting to get vaccinated to be able to do that this coming up weekend. So we're conducting the intake process. I have interviews possibly tomorrow with 12 candidates, and we'll be bringing in probably 5 or 6 new hires in the coming month, probably in June, to fulfill open positions. I'm going to be losing 4 to 6 members to career hires in the Lower Mainlands. And I think everybody understands that we are a farm team for the Lower Mainland, British Columbia career departments. And I'm very proud to say that we just lost 2, I think, to the village of Langley.
Yep.
If that's correct. One of our members got pulled a month ago, and another member got a call 2 weeks later and was pulled into the same organization. He is a captain, so I'm losing an officer, so I'll have to make a promotion as well. I have another member who is command qualified, and keep moving forwards. So it's the nature of our organization that we definitely have a revolving door, but we're getting in some very high quality young men and women into the testing process, and hopefully they're successful and they become members at some point in the future here. So that's kind of the point of information. Battalion 58 is new. Who's been able to see Battalion 58? Anybody, the new vehicle? So everybody understands we bought a new vehicle to become our Battalion 58. It is Chief Shields' vehicle at this point. It fits him very well. He likes all the toys and stuff inside of it. And it lights up like a Christmas tree. This thing has more lights on it than I think I've ever seen before on an emergency vehicle. So it looks really good.
Like a sheriff's car. I've already had friends telling me they don't know if they should pull over because there's a fire or if they're getting arrested for a crime.
Well, if the lights are on, they should just pull to the right. And if the car pulls up behind them, it's most likely the sheriff. If we pass them, it's most likely us going somewhere else. It does look like the sheriff's car, but that's kind of what we do. We buy the same types of vehicles, law enforcement, sheriff. We have the same type of command vehicles that are on bid and everything else. We got a tremendous deal on this vehicle. The radios itself and the lighting package that's on it is worth probably what we paid for the vehicle, and in total. It had 49,000 miles on it, so it's still getting broken into a degree, and it's all-wheel drive, so it'll be doing good in the winter. We're somewhat environmental because it has a solar panel on top of the vehicle, because it is from California, and it charges the inverter, I believe, inside the car. But otherwise, it's so far a good vehicle, really good, deckled out. So if you haven't seen it, come by the hall, and we'd love to show you the new vehicle that we have. So old Battalion 58, the red pickup truck, is now turning into Brush 58, as you can see on my report. And we're waiting on the Wildland skid. So the Wildland skid should be here by, I believe, month's end, first part of June. And then we'll put that in the back of it, fill it up with water, and get ready for any type of wildland fires that we have. Just to remind everybody, the reason why we're putting a skid into Battalion 58 and making it our wildland unit during the summer months is because we can drive. So the skid is completely separate from the truck itself and fully self-encapsulated. So that it doesn't mean that we have to put the truck in pump. So there's no pump gear on, obviously, the truck, Battalion 58, the old battalion, I should say, the Dodge now. And so therefore we can drive the wildland scene if it's drivable with 4-wheel drive. So obviously if it's a marsh area like we recently had, we wouldn't be able to take the truck into that area. But if it's a flat field that's on fire, let's just utilize the airport, because we had some wildland fires at the airport. This is a truck that can drive the full length of that fire and have somebody walking with it and putting it out. We haven't had that capability to this capacity before with this truck. We had a pneumatic type of wildland kit in back of it previously, and we don't have that currently, because we'd have to come back to the station. We'd have to fill it back up with air before we'd be able to go back out and continue fighting the wildland fire. So this makes us much more efficient for purposes of getting a quick initial attack on any type of wildland fire that's in an open area that we can drive into. So I'm happy to say that. So Commissioner Harper, you'll be hopefully happy to hear that. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to take a look at it when we get the new wildland skid. 43 members, 25 Canadians, 10 Point Roberts, 8 county, 5 paramedics, 8 EMTs, 5 of those are advanced EMTs, 3 ambassadors, 33 firefighters. That'll be adjusting probably next month. I'll be adjusting those numbers, but everything's pretty much staying the same. Volunteer hours for the month of April 2021, 2,536 volunteer payroll, 12,409 if everybody was getting paid. Combined chief hours, I worked 176. 40 hours of those, if you remember, were in Alabama to acquire my Fire Instructor 2 credentialing, which I was successful at doing. I received my certificate for IFSAC and Pro Board accreditation, I believe yesterday in the mail. And by the way, I just want to let everybody know, yesterday was Virginia's birthday.
Oh, thank you so much.
Happy birthday, belated.
Yes, happy belated.
Yeah. So she turned a year younger yesterday.
Yep.
And is moving forwards there. So I worked 176 hours, but 40 of those were held in class for benefit of this agency. And they were in Alabama, Tuscaloosa to be exact, where Alabama Fire College is. I'll be heading back out in August. I don't know why I picked August, because it's going to be miserable there with the heat and the humidity. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge, but I'll be in an air-conditioned building for a week, going through class again for my Fire Instructor 3. And at this point, that's the highest fire and emergency medical instructorship that's offered with IFSAC Pro Board through the Alabama Fire College. Here in Washington State, they only offer Fire Instructor 2 credentialing. And I've been very happy with the education I've received there, and being able to bring back the leadership capabilities and that education back to this agency for just not my members, but also the community at large. So thanks for supporting me and getting those types of educational opportunities. Chief Shield worked 148.5 combined hours, 324.5 hours for the month of April between the chiefs. Total calls, we had 15 calls in the month of April. 12 of those were EMS in nature. We had 2 transports by this agency to St. Joseph's Hospital, 1 airlift transport. We had 6 no transports. 1 county medic transported for us, North Whatcom Fire Rescue, BLS unit transported for us. And then we had an additional call that another unit, it wasn't North Whatcom, it was actually Ferndale, sent up an ambulance to meet us at the border to take one of our patients on the way to the hospital. So I just want to explain why we do that and why sometimes we have other agencies that transport us outside of Airlift Northwest. Obviously, Airlift Northwest is most due to the critical nature of the medical or the trauma incident that the patient is dealing with at the time. So when we call in a medic unit or a county BLS unit to further transports to us, so we meet somewhere, we exchange patient, and they take the patient all the way to the hospital. It's normally due to, number one, maybe we need a medic, and because we don't have a paramedic here in Point Roberts at the time, we have an advanced EMT, and the nature of the medical or trauma emergency for that patient is at a higher level, and that advanced EMT or EMT needs to call in a paramedic. So that's one reason why we would transport, and a medic unit would take it down. But a BLS unit, so an EMT unit that is equally trained to our people here, why would we ever rendezvous with them? Why would we not take down all patients to the hospital? Well, it comes down to personnel available on Point Roberts. And if we're short on personnel, we'd never want to leave this community unprotected. So our goal is to always leave at least 2 capable firefighters and a command person here in Point Roberts, along with an engineer, so they can take the fire trucks and start pumping out a structure fire when the ambulance is gone with other personnel. So that's why we make those choices. It's really a personnel situation that we're having, and we want to get the ambulance back as quickly as possible with the 2 personnel that are most likely firefighters and or engineers back to the point to make sure that we have full capability for any type of incidents that we have furthering from that one. So does anybody have any questions on that? Why sometimes we don't choose to transport down ourselves and we do rendezvous, or did I explain it well enough? Everybody's good?
Good.
Okay. All right. So we had a home visit, one of those, no agency assist, no public service. We had 2 fire classifications. We had a power line incident, and then we did have a grass fire off of Peltier. And it was a pretty large grass fire. It had been burning for some time, and it was in a marshy area. So that kind of helped us with that. But when we were arriving, it started getting into the high brush, and we had flames, 10 to 20 feet in the air when we arrived. But it was a very large area that we had to try to cover. So we came on the backside of Peltier with engine 58, and then engine 5802 went down Peltier to hit another front. So we had basically a west front and an east front on that wildland fire. Again, large area that was involved. And the investigation is still going on regarding where that fire started. And it was tracked basically to the backside of a residential home, which seemed to be having some types of burns, including illegal material that was being burnt as well. So that's being followed up by the fire marshal's office, my office, and then if we believe it should be directed to Northwest Clean Air, then we'll report that to Northwest Clean Air to where they can come down legally on anybody that was involved in the starting of this type of a fire. Very, very risky. We were very fortunate that there was no wind that day. If that fire would have been wind driven, then it could definitely have taken and gone to the airport and taken some of the structures on Peltier. That's how large this fire was when we arrived. So the marshy area helped keep it at bay though. But if it would have been wind driven, we would have been in trouble. So anyway, that concludes my chief's report for the month of May for April 2021. Any questions?
No?
No
Okay.
questions here, just the fact that I think you have to come down hard on those people to do that, because if we'd been in August, it'd been a different story.
Absolutely. And I agree to that fully. And I'm not patient with those types of individuals. And if there's fines to be levied, I'm happy to do that because of the risk that it's causing this community. For people that don't burn safely and or burn outside of regulation, especially material that's poisoning our air and our atmosphere here in Point Roberts. So I'd like to go over the credit card bill. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, so some charges. Puget Sound Energy is most likely over $1,000 during the summer. It gets less during the summer though, just because we're not running the heaters. So we should hopefully start seeing a decrease in that energy bill. And then there was a $3,700 charge for Blue Card Command. That's the incident command system we use here, and accountability system that I train our officers to, and firefighters that are willing to become officers or inspiring to be officers within this agency. So that is paid, and there's a line item for that. The other charge was the Raritan Dodge Chrysler Bellingham, and it was for $2,861.68. And that was to get Battalion 58 all ready to accept the wildland skid. That's going to put more weight into it. So we wanted to make sure the brakes were good, all the shocks, struts, everything. The engine obviously needed some work. So we put in, $2,800 of work on that. And it should be ready, should be good to go for the summer and ready to take the weight of that wildland skid now. That's it for things over. Oh, Perry Pallet in Ferndale was over $1,000 as well. And Perry Pallet is where we're getting our pallets to have our live burns at Station 12 down in Bellingham. So they normally, this is kind of fun. It's bad because I'm having to spend a lot of money. But our firefighters are worth it. To each shift, I offer a live burn to every single year. And as far as I know, I'm the only agency that's doing that consistently with each of our shifts. So they get to go down to Station 12, do ladder work on an actual fire training facility. have live burns, so they get to feel the heat, the smoke. They practice rescue techniques inside those, as well as suppression techniques. So it's very beneficial for them to feel the heat, get into the smoke, see the low visibility that they're going to have to crawl through, work with the thermal imaging cameras. Sorry for my phone. Thermal imaging cameras as well. But now, because of the wood shortage, I think everybody understands there's a wood shortage out there, and the price has gone way up. So Perry pallets, they don't have scrap pallets anymore. So now we're having to buy actually the good pallets, medium grade pallets, to burn at the fire training facility. They're no longer donating those to us. Right now, I think I'm paying $10 a pallet, where in normal times, the kind of donation was $3 a pallet for us to be burning. And so we have to supply our own pallets, where the fire training facility was supplying those before the pandemic, but now I have to pay for those. So it's costing the $1,000 for 2 burns. So it's costing about $500 per burn. So $2,000 out of our budgetary line items for live burn training this year. So I think that's it for anything over $1,000. We had one for $875, and that was for Eric's transport. That was to bring the new Battalion 58 up from California. So they transported it up here on a hauler, so we didn't have to come down and get it. Any questions on the credit card bill?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me. Okay, we all should.
Okay. We'll move on to any unfinished business that you want to bring up. None? Then we'll move into new business. And I have a couple of items that I want to throw out. One is the issue of the Zoom meeting, or our meetings. And if and when we go back to having regular open meetings, I've had several people ask me when we're going to do that, because they like to come to our meetings. So I don't know that this is restricting them from doing that, but is there some discussion that we could have on this item?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll check with our legal counsel and see what the rulings of the state are currently for public
Okay.
meetings at this point. And I'll do that. I'll send him off an email today or Monday and talk to him, so we can have this straightened out by next meeting, whether or not we need to stay in this format or we can come back to in-person meetings. So
Okay.
I'll find that outside that side of it for you and let you know.
Good, thank you. And the other item, I attended the hospital district meeting, and they had a request, which I don't know that it's too pertinent, but they want to know why we don't have the white lines painted on the parking lot, so that cars can be parked in there properly. And I know that you're planning on having some work done on the parking lot at some point. Is there any reason that we need to have white lines drawn?
Well, if you remember, probably I think in 2014-15, we had the parking lot resurfaced.
Right.
And that's when the lines were beautiful. Everything looked great. But over time, the weather takes them off, and all parking lots go through that. I mean, it's something that's just weather related and wear and tear on the line. So that was about a $12,000 expense for us back in 2014-15. And I'm not seeing a big issue with people parking, right, in the parking lot at this point. There's not enough per se, even when I had the lines and I had handicap areas, people would pull up in front of the door anyway
Sure.
and just park their car in front of the clinic. So they weren't parking in the handicap locations anyway during this time. And I think everybody's old enough right now that it's up to the commissioners. I can look into the expense on that to have a company come up and line out the asphalt in our parking lot. The biggest issue that we have coming up is the parking lot's going to have to be redone at some point, because depending on how you drive, there's a lot of waves and rivets, and you really have to drive in straight lines, like in an L when you come in, and there's starting to be some sinkholes inside the parking lot. That's probably going to be $100,000 job. Excuse me. So I'm trying to think what, and this would be a discussion amongst the commissioners, probably in a work session, but where's the money best spent? Do we wait a couple more years and try to get some bids on coming up and resurfacing, like completely not just putting blacktop over, the cracks and stuff like that, but actually coming in, taking up the asphalt and redoing the parking lot as a whole? I don't know where you want to go on that conversation today, but if you want me to restripe the lines, I can restripe the lines. But just know it's probably going to be 10 to 12,000, if not more, because of inflation.
My attitude is it's not necessary, but I will hear from the other commissioners.
Yeah, I
I
don't
agree
think it'd be
with the,
necessary to stripe it right now, but I think it put our money where it counts, and probably look into initially doing the skin patching, get rid of the low areas. Otherwise, talking about ripping it up and grinding stuff and relaying it. But skin patching might work, since we're not really in the heavy trafficking there. You may
Right.
not know what skin patching is, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, so
Okay.
I'm definitely need to be educated on that for sure.
Okay.
Ray?
I concur. I think that this is something that we can hold off on. I don't see it as something that's critical or in need of urgent attention at this moment.
So I will report back to the hospital district and tell them number one, the cost is really not in our budget, and if it were a life and death situation, we would really consider it, but it isn't. And I think they think going out, they just need to have the lines painted. Well, they don't realize that it's much more complicated than that. So if they want to pitch in on it, we ought to maybe ask them.
Yeah, that we could do it very unprofessionally with a spray can.
Yep.
And walk the lines. I mean, we could do that. It'd be, a little narrow spot, but I'll talk to Chief Shields about that and see if there's something we can do that would give us some type. He just walked into the room. Some type of. He heard his name and he came in. Give us some type of line perspective out there that would make them happy, but not go to the full cost of having a professional company come up here to reline this parking lot when we need. All of you have seen the alligator patterns in the parking lot, and it's starting to separate, and we call it an alligator pattern out there. That's just because of wear and tear, water damage, those types of things. We have a drop off at the end of our concrete area for the fire trucks. We have a drop off that we keep adding cement into to try to keep that drop off from becoming bigger. So again, at some point, the whole parking lot will need to be done and resurfaced professionally. But I think Chief Shields and I can probably come up with something that at least will get lines out there, but they won't look pretty. I can probably guarantee they won't look. They have a line painter at Nielsen's, so
Oh, there you go.
maybe that's something. But I want a strawberry rhubarb pie. If I'm going to be out there painting lines, I want a
Okay.
strawberry rhubarb pie. And Bill, I want some barbecue from New Jersey or something like that. And yeah, I'm pointing to Bill Zidell over there. So
I could get you anything you want, even stripes in your parking lot.
so everybody, you're from New Jersey, right, Bill? You're from New Jersey, is that correct?
I'm from real New Jersey, not South Jersey, the shore. And I'm not from North Jersey like the one want to be New Yorkers. I'm from Newark. That's New Jersey.
Okay. All right. Everybody can tell because of the incredible accents that he has. So we're good to go there. Yeah. Okay. There you go on the parking lot. We'll figure something out.
Okay, thank you. Any other new business? No? Well, I think we could have a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn
I second.
at what time it is.
I will close the meeting at 14:36. Thank you all for coming.
Okay. So commissioners, I'll just let you know that John's going to be coming around to have you sign the documents today so we can get those down to Patty. We can bring those down to you, Patty, tomorrow because we have guys coming down for the burn, so we can drop those off at 41 if you want us to.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So thanks everybody for being here. Bill, thanks for being part of the meeting today. And everybody have a great evening. 5 o'clock, King 5. Hopefully it's a good one. So
I hope so, yeah.
okay. Bye
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Goodbye.